1.
Hi.
Hello, fam.
How
Welcome
we doing?
back.
It's Nicodemus.
And Francesca.
And we are the Saucy Sibz.
Oh, we are.
Mm-hmm. Saucy in every single way.
Hi, guys. Welcome back. So excited you're here. This setup is weird. I don't like looking right at you. I mean, I do. But and now I have the camera. Like, it feels so different.
Yeah, it does. It does. But I like it. I feel like it kind of keeps us like more engaged.
Yeah.
It like, it's good for the camera angles, but it is like,
it's different.
It's weird. I see what you mean.
I also don't know if like I ever like stare directly at you in real life either.
Do that either. I don't really like to make eye contact.
Didn't you tell me that you've noticed on the podcast that like we zone each other out sometimes during the podcast?
No. Okay. What I mean by that is sometimes we lose focus. That's it. But sometimes it is like I'm watching it and I'm like, I can see what's happening, right?
Like one of us glazes over when the other one's talking.
I'm watching it with like such an analytical eye.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this bitch is yawning, checking the time, fucking twirling her hair, looking at the fucking wall. And I'm like, I'm sure I do it too. I just notice more like when you do it. But like, yeah,
that's terrible.
You kind of
what?
Fell asleep one podcast almost.
What?
Sorta.
What do you mean?
It was you got like real tired. And
no, there was something wrong with me.
It was just her and I talking, and you just literally went to the moon. And it was just like, Francesca's not there. She's like audibly yawning.
No, I remember that. Something was wrong with me.
Yeah, no,
I like got really. I had a caffeine crash or something.
I mean,
and I remember being like.
It was probably something like that because I was kind of thinking like, could you imagine being like, oh, come on my podcast? You just.
That's so ridiculous. I just like fall.
When is this shit over? Like as if you were on her show. I don't know.
That's horrible.
No, I
mean,
I
don't want to say that.
No.
I love her.
No, I know. No, I think it was like, we can cut that out. But no, sometimes everyone does it though. People just like zone the fuck out. You know, on the Impulsive podcast, they have this guy, George, and they'll bully him. Like he'll be fucking literally like engaged and he'll like look away for a second for some reason. And they're like, oh, George is checked out. Fuck him. And he's like, what the fuck? I'm right here. They did it to him in front of Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal was on their podcast and they're like, oh, George is done. And then Shaq looked at George and was like, hey, are you even going to ask me a question or are you just sitting on stage with us? I mean, could you imagine the pressure?
No.
I mean, yeah.
I like.
With 3 co-hosts and Shaq, right? Like, how do you have 3 people who aren't the guest who is as famous as Shaq? You know what I mean? It was just like a weird dynamic. And then to Shaq, like, call it out, like, I would shit myself.
You know, I just remembered I took an Adderall earlier. Did it do anything?
I don't know. How much did you take?
Just 5.
Yeah. Sometimes those 5s, those little white pills don't do shit.
They don't do anything. Like, remember, I just like had some caffeine because I was like, you know, we didn't do anything yesterday, but I'm just hungover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we did a lot of content though. We made a lot of like
we had a very productive day.
Absolutely.
But we like drank a little wine and I haven't been eating enough, I guess.
Yeah. You need like fat.
Like eating healthy.
Yeah.
Like I had like a potato.
Sometimes healthy food just isn't the best for like drinking.
No, it's not conducive.
I know. But like, you know what is conducive? Pizza.
Yeah.
In French fries. And like
pizza's we talked about this yesterday. Pizza's the superior food.
Pizza is the food of all foods. It's got the aesthetic.
I said it's my favorite food and you were like, what? And it's our last name?
It is.
You know, like pizza kind of became like an aesthetic thing. It became like cool.
Yeah.
Everybody's putting pizza on socks.
Yeah.
Pizza on whatever. And I'm like,
it's like drippy.
Yeah, but like they stole my thing.
Yeah.
Because like pizza, we're the pizza kids, the pizza family.
Pizza family.
My dad's the pizza man.
Yeah. Little pizza.
Yeah.
Pizza.
My dog's name is Za. Pizza.
Pizza. Yeah.
Like, it was my thing. I even have, I have like a 14 karat gold pizza necklace.
Yeah.
Little ruby.
Yeah.
I don't wear it that much. I should more because it's my thing.
Yeah.
He stole it.
I think pizza is like the aesthetic of pizza, like wearing a gold chain of pizza. It's just enough like quirky, fun. I'm a cool girl, but it's also like
I'm gonna reclaim it.
It's not like bacon.
No, like because bacon like became a thing.
Bacon became like a personality trait.
Yeah.
And also, Actually, now that I have the floor, I've wanted to speak on that. I've wanted to speak on that. Bacon, I feel like for some elder millennials, bacon really did become a personality trait.
Yeah.
But during that time, I was a vegetarian, okay? And I was a vegetarian when I was 12 out in Missouri. You know, not many people in high school, in middle school in Missouri are being vegetarian in, 2006.
Yeah.
So being a vegetarian coupled with bacon becoming a personality trait, Francesca, I would say, oh, I don't eat meat. And people just yell in my face, bacon!
No,
and stare at me.
That's what people do like to taunt the vegans. They're like, bacon always brings them back.
I know.
What about bacon?
But yeah, what about bacon? Like, no, and people thought it was a punchline without even saying a joke. I would be like, oh, I like curry. And people would be like, bacon.
I remember because you went on this rant like years ago, and then we went to brunch somewhere. I know where, in St. Louis, the Shack. And they have a big light up sign like it's the fucking, opera house. And it's just like bacon. And you walked in, and I just remember you were like, these motherfuckers. Like, you know what they were like? This wall, what's it need? Light it up. And like bacon in lights.
Francesca, I probably sat you down and was like, "This is the problem."
No,
Nick,
we had like a 30-minute wait for brunch, and you were just like, "Francesca, look, this is the problem.
This is the problem."
Yeah, and you were like, "Wow, like they had such like little, creativity in design." Bacon. No, you went on, you like got on your soapbox at brunch, and I was like, I am hungover. I'm with the family.
And here I am 10 years later on my podcast being like, you know what fucking grinds my gears? Yeah.
But no, just about, I feel like this is overdone, but pizza really is, it's the perfect fit.
It is.
Because you have the fat. And you have like the bread, so it soaks it up. It soaks up the alcohol. You can eat on bread. Now there's gluten-free, so like,
and I've had some amazing gluten-free pizzas. Actually, of the gluten-free carbohydrates, like pizza crust is an amazing one.
Here's the thing. When I tell people things are like good that are gluten-free, I'm like, oh no, it's like, it's really good bread or it's really good pizza. I have to come to the terms with the fact that like my opinion no longer matters.
Oh, right.
I haven't tasted real gluten in over 10 years. So it's like, I don't fucking know. Like I've gotten so far. And like when I first became gluten-free, I used to think crackers were good that like you and dad and like the family would like be like, like you would literally like spit them up on front of you. And I'd be like, these are great.
These work. Francesca, you have made, actually, hold up. This is hilarious because you have made some gluten-free like breads that you like bake in the oven that are literally worse than cardboard. And I would like rant, I would rave about them. Not that bad. Like I'll put this on my blog, and I'm like, listen, as someone who eats gluten,
do you remember the buckwheat loaf?
No, buckwheat loaf.
I made a loaf of bread out of just buckwheat groats, which they're called groats, like the little seeds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, groats. Because buckwheat is a seed, not a grain. And it was just that salt and water, and you like let it rise. And Nick, it was like
what in the Babylon is this?
No, it was the densest. Like it was like you could hurt someone. Like it was a brick.
It was cement.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The consistency and the color of cement.
Wow.
Yeah, no,
He's a foodie, everyone.
Yeah. I just have no, like my opinion does not matter. We were talking about that today too, actually, how like some people are gluten-free. They're just gluten-free.
Yeah.
They just don't eat gluten. It's no big deal and they don't need to talk about it. I adopted it as a personality trait years ago, and I've never given up.
Being gluten-free?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I feel like some people like want to kind of hide the fact that they are gluten-free out of necessity, and they don't want to come off as annoying.
Yeah.
You over here like started an Instagram.
Yeah.
You know?
Actually, our parents, like the video that we made them in a TikTok. You guys know. Actually, we got a little drunk on our parents' TikTok last night. We were like, hopefully we don't get fired. But they can't fire us.
Good thing our parents don't even have TikTok downloaded, so we can just do whatever the fuck we want on there.
Yeah, I'm like, no, it's fine. I'm like, you guys are going viral. They're like, they're really like, the orders are really coming in. I'm like, yeah, I know. But like, I was like, Nick and I might have been bullying our followers yesterday.
Literally mean, yeah.
But
Don't
like,
comment dumb shit.
Yeah, don't comment dumb shit, and I won't publicly shame you. I go, Mom, Dad, you're just gonna have to like trust me in the marketing world. I was like, TikTok is different. It's not Instagram. It's not perfect. It's not polished. I'm like, we're gonna bully.
We're gonna be mean to our followers.
It's doing great.
It's working, everyone. So. But
someone commented, because I used to have a gluten-free Instagram account. I had like 30,000 followers back in the day, like 7 years ago, which is good. I was a whole little gluten-free blogger. But my handle was young, broke, and gluten-free. So the TikTok video went viral, and one of the comments I saw like pop up on my phone was like, don't even pretend that you are not young, broke, and gluten-free.
Honestly, comment of the year. I thought that was so funny. I like that because it was just like, you weren't pretending.
No, I know. Like, I've just like changed. Like, don't let her fool you. Yeah. She was young. She was broke. She was gluten-free.
Like, I know who you are. Like, she fucking clocked you.
Yeah. And she was like, I guess her blog didn't work out. So now she's hawking Jello shots. Listen, I'm reinventing myself.
Jello shots are gluten-free. So
they are.
Mm-hmm. But they're not vegetarian. Unless you get vegetarian Jello.
We used a plant-based gelatin.
We did.
Yes. I wonder, we left them at our friend's house.
We did. I was kind of like, when we were near our friend's house today, I was like, should we go pick those up?
Oh, that was smart.
I know. I drove. Forgot.
I drove around the county today. I didn't know what to do with myself because we drank 3 bottles of wine last night. I did on accident on the couch.
I had 3 glasses of wine.
It's like, you know those nights that like it isn't worth it? Like the hangover.
Yeah.
You're like, I was wholesome. I like chilled. I just like sat and like had a little like glass of wine with my brother. I like chatted with a friend. The way I felt today felt like I partied like it was 1999.
Yeah, you're still a little over.
Yeah, you guys remember we didn't drink last podcast?
We're drinking this podcast.
I said I wasn't going to drink till my 33rd birthday because I'm getting snatched. Great. I've drank 5 times since the last podcast.
Has it been 5 times?
No,
like it's
3.
been like, it's only been like 3.
But we're drinking today because I was like,
What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Tito's Cran.
Wow. I just wish I had a little lime wedge for you.
Nick told me, I go, oh, Nick, what are you drinking on the podcast? He goes, I'm really feeling like a Boulevardier. I was like, what the fuck? I stopped dead in my tracks.
I did make myself a Boulevardier. Okay.
Tell the people what it is.
I'll tell you what a Boulevardier is. Okay. It's a Negroni with whiskey. That's it. So a Negroni is just Campari, which is an Italian like bitter
aperitif.
Aperitif, yeah. It's like Aperol. And then it's with gin and then vermouth, garnished with an orange
slice.
Sweet
vermouth, not dry vermouth.
But so what I did, we don't have any gin right now. And I'm kind of on
gin in the house.
I don't really keep gin.
We don't keep alcohol normally.
Normally, yeah.
Except maybe a bottle of wine, but all these Jello shots we've been making, I'm like, we have a full bar.
Sometimes some Tito's. Well, we do have a full bar because we've had have to buy like so many ingredients for all these different Jello shots, and we had Campari, we had sweet vermouth, and we had whiskey. And I was like, I'm gonna make myself a Boulevardier. As pretentious as that sounds,
yeah, it's just a Negroni with whiskey. It's such a fun word. Speaking of fun words, I'm taking Italian lessons.
Oh, how is that going?
Great. Day 1. I'm gonna do it every day. It's a 30-minute audio lesson. Pimsleur, guys. Honestly,
Pimsleur. Fuck this I almost said
Duolingo.
Duolingo.
Fuck Duolingo.
Fuck Dua Lipa. She's never going to teach you Italian. No, Duolingo does not teach you languages.
No, it doesn't. It
might
does
help you
not.
practice a skill that you have.
If you want to like have something like mindless, maybe you'll learn a little bit. But you guys, Pimsleur, Pimsleur. This is how I have learned every language I've well, I dated a guy who didn't speak English.
You got really good at French.
Yeah. And you just do 30 minutes a day. So do it on your little walk, do it on your little commute. It is the way your brain is supposed to learn languages. Yeah. And then you pronounce it right because you're never looking at the words. So you're not mispronouncing. You're just hearing it and learning it. So I can't read any French.
It's 100% auditory.
But I can conversationally like get around in French. But I took my first Italian lesson today because I feel like my name is Francesca Piazza. And when I'm just over here like full Italian, I don't know a fucking word in Italian.
Yeah. But you know Italian wine.
I do know I have wine going for me.
And I have heard that might be more important when it comes to the Italian language.
Yeah.
Some old man told me that. But
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I feel like it's been so long now. The show that I'm going to be on, if that ever airs, it might not air for a year, you guys, but my shtick, which I didn't know until producers came to me, was being Italian.
Yeah.
But then he was like, do you speak Italian? I was like, no. And then like the conversation just ends there and it's like awkward. So io capisco un peu. No, a peu is French. Io capisco un
Here
po'.
we go.
L'Italiano. I understand a little bit of Italian.
Italiano. You know what I like about Italian? How like some words bleed into other words.
No, that's my audio lesson today was like, listen to the way they say it. It's all going to sound like one word. They're like, we'll teach you how to say it separately, but like, just say it together. It all is the same. French even more so, but like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but French is annoying. You don't pronounce anything. And so
it's so weird. French is so strange.
It's very strange. Like Spanish and Italian like makes sense to me. And I feel like you still like enunciate and you can hear different parts of the word. Mm-hmm. French, you just like, you pronounce like a syllable in each word. And I don't know.
And there's all these letters that don't mean anything.
Yeah, no, you just skip right over them.
Do you know why they call Italian the most beautiful language in the world?
No.
I'll explain. So,
please.
With all the Romance languages, they're based on Latin. But once the Roman Empire fell,
I zone out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm listening. I almost like for a bit to see if people would notice is if I just like started sipping and like looking. At the ceiling.
I think I would have noticed, but not said anything, and then said something after, and been like, Francesca, that's fucking not okay.
And I would have been like, that was the
bit. Okay. But anyway,
start over, please.
Okay, basically, Romance languages based on Latin. But once people stopped speaking Latin, they went into like their respective language, so like French, Spanish, right? But that was based on popularity. So, for example, like French is Parisian, okay?
Yeah.
Because like Paris was the biggest and most popular area that would speak what we would be known as French. Mm-hmm. So it's popularity. But because the Roman Empire, the capital, it was like based around the Italian peninsula, they didn't really want to speak Latin because the Roman Empire had fallen and they needed they needed a new language. And so Dante, who wrote Dante's Inferno, he created a language based on literature and poetry. And so that's why it's not the fact that like Italian isn't Roman, Italian's not Neapolitan, it's actually Dantean based on his literature. And that's why they say it's the most beautiful language in the world. Because
like a beautiful writer like composed this language.
Yeah, exactly.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's beautiful.
Very, very few languages have ever had like such an intentionality behind like the building and progression of the language. I know that Turkish has some things going on with that. I know like modern day Hebrew has some things going on with that. But generally, yeah. I
think German's like the ugliest, but don't people say that it's actually like the most, it's like the best, like descriptively?
So German's really interesting because they say the best descriptively is actually English. There's things that can happen in English that does not happen in any other language. German.
Is it just like utilitarian?
No. What do you mean by utilitarian?
I don't know.
Utilitarian means like good for the best, like the highest, like.
I feel like it. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of, no, German is really good because like, if a word is written a certain way, that's like the rules in the language matter. You know how in English, like it doesn't matter if I before E except after C, right? We have all these like caveats to the rules. Mm-hmm. German has zero. German is how you do it.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that's actually really true because the language for the UN was going to be German and they had a vote on it, German or English.
Yeah.
And they thought that German was just like a better language for people to learn than English because English is hard to master. But they kind of decided, and I think they put it up to a vote, and pretty much they just decided that English was going to be more universal anyway.
Aesthetically, I just hate it.
You don't like the way like German sounds?
No, I just don't like the way it's written. Like there's tall letters hanging out all over, just punch it. I don't know. Like I just don't like the way it looks.
Yeah.
And it's like accosting. I feel like it's very...
I like the way German sounds.
Francesca in German has like a Z and a K.
Oh,
it's like Fran. It's like it's like Francechezka. It's very like
Francesca.
But yeah, there is a German version.
That is wild. I did not know that. But man, I love linguistics. Really. Should we move on though? Should we get into it?
I was like, let's I'm zoning out. Za's zoned out. You guys, Za has like a specific spot that when we do the podcast,
she goes straight to.
Yeah, we say get in your bed. She goes in her bed and she watches, but she like sleeps and she knows every single time. I think I've mentioned that, but like I'm obsessed.
Okay. Wait, hold up. I saw a meme that it was like, I posted this on Instagram where it's like podcasters will be like 35 minutes. Okay, let's just dive straight in.
No, it's literally 35 minutes. It's like, all right, let's just dive right in. It's like, what the fuck was all of that?
Well, here we are.
Thanks for being here. What did we do this week?
Okay, guys. So as you know, we are moving to Denver. The Saucy Sibz are moving to Denver.
People did not know. One of his good friends today at lunch was like, you guys are moving to Denver? And we were like, yeah. And she's like, I had to find out on the podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
We've told you guys, but yeah. I guess.
We forgot to tell the people.
We did forget to tell the people. We are moving to Denver, whatever. And so Francesca and I actually, we went down to Denver last weekend and we were going to this podcast meetup. And we were in Denver for probably 13 hours, maybe, and it was a wild, wild time. First off, we went to the Great Divide Brewery, which is awesome, and we went to this podcast meetup where we met
got
a lot
invited.
of different friends. Yeah,
and we didn't know how we got invited.
Some guy just DM'd me on Instagram and was like,
and
hey,
we were like, sure, we'll go hang out with the podcasters in Denver. Come to find out, super famous, super huge in the industry. Chris Thompson of Sup Daily like told the main guy that was doing the meetup that like we should be invited. And I was like, wait, you thought of us and like got us invited? And he was like, honestly, like I would not have done that. Like just cause I know you. He's like, but you guys actually like have something. And I was like,
I know he called us funny and he was like, I wouldn't say that if I didn't believe it. This guy is actually Chris Thompson. He has been on YouTube way back in the day.
You started watching him when you were in 6th grade.
6th grade. Yeah. What kind of like my earliest memory of him was he had a song, like a parody music video called the Twitter Song. And it was this like catchy little YouTube music video about Twitter. And back in the day, like Twitter had just come out. So this man had taught me what Twitter was through a YouTube video when I was in 6th grade.
Yeah.
And then now we're kind of witnessing like a whole new era of Twitter. And it's just like really interesting that like now I just met him.
Well, and it's to receive like a compliment from someone who is like super...
The OG of like, I mean, content creation. But I mean, he's older than, or his content is older than TikTok, older than Instagram, older than Facebook, older than
He's been a
Twitter.
full-time content creator for like 15 years.
Yeah, like since 2005. You know, it's
like
crazy.
Literally one of like the OG kind of like influencers, if you will. But content creators. But just to receive, like we're still kind of on a high from the meetup.
We are.
To receive a compliment from someone really respected in the industry and who knows their craft and wasn't just like, oh yeah, like I heard blah, blah. He had told other people to listen to us and was like, oh, they're the Saucy Sibz. They're fucking hilarious. Like they're killing it. I was like, shit. Yeah. That I'm just like very humbling and just like, damn, like just really cool.
Yeah.
And because we didn't know that we had a comedy podcast.
And that's another thing, guys, is the way that he kind of introduced us to other people, or the way that other people who had heard of us were treating us. They were like, oh my God, like you guys, your podcast is really funny. You know, there's not a lot of comedy podcasts in Colorado. And like, of course, when we listed our podcast on like Apple, it asks you know what is it? And it's comedy, I guess, but I never really put it together. And Francesca, you feel the same way, where it's like, holy shit, like I guess we do, like our podcast is a comedy podcast.
Like I didn't know I was a comedian.
Which means we are sort of comedians.
That's what we're trying to grow. We want to hone the craft better. We want to get funnier and we want to start doing stand up. Because that's also a lot of how like some of the bits or the things we talk about is stuff that like I've kept a note in my phone for 8 years of like
stand up
comedy bits. But I've just never had, like, I just haven't taken a lot of classes. Like I used to take improv classes in New York and stuff, but yeah, that's just kind of like the direction. We're just owning it.
Yeah, I did stand-up improv, and I was the captain of the improv team in high school and stuff like that, but I never really thought of myself as like this like comedian. I always thought of myself more as a storyteller. So like when we have like this podcast, in my mind, it was like, I want to tell funny stories.
Yeah.
I'm not doing like a comedy bit.
I wouldn't say that anyone who's ever like met me would be like, oh, Francesca's like so funny. It's more that Francesca tells really good stories.
Right. 100%.
That's a compliment I've gotten my whole life.
For sure.
They're like, oh, I feel like I was there.
Yeah.
And it's more of like, honestly, like kind of a self-deprecating, telling like the stupid shit I do.
Yeah.
And then telling people about it, which is how the podcast was formed. But like, we just kind of want to lean more into it. And like, we were like, oh, we have a comedy podcast.
I know.
It's like no one told me.
No. Wait, we actually have like one of the biggest comedy podcasts in Colorado.
I had no idea. But no, we met a lot of cool people.
Yeah.
You guys, we found out some things too. So we're gonna tell you.
Yes.
They talked about this at the meetup. And we met some people who like millions of downloads, that like some big people, this and that, but they shared some stats with us that like blew our minds, and we wanted to share them with you guys.
Wait, can I say one thing before you start the stats? And then one thing like with this, like the community of podcasters that we met, it wasn't just Denver. It was a lot of people in Denver, but a lot of people were like from Florida and stuff. But
people like drove and flew in.
Yeah, totally. And a lot of this podcast community, they aren't like influencers. They aren't like content creators. Well, they are, but like they it was like philosophy podcasts, true crime. And then one person was like in
finance.
Finance was huge, or occupational therapy, to kind of get the word out of like what occupational therapists do. Because like at the heart of it, like podcasts, there's such an educational aspect to podcasts, right? And like it was kind of interesting, whereas storytellers and content creators, where we kind of come with comedy, like we do kind of come at it from more of like a influencer bend,
Yeah.
It was just so funny because a lot of these people like were not almost like that at all.
I think we were one of the only comedy ones.
There was 2 comedy ones, which is like really interesting. Yeah,
I know, and I guess like because a lot of the podcasts I've historically listened to are informational ones. I'm like, oh, the Wim Hof or Joe Rogan. I learned about this, and but sometimes I don't feel like learning. And that is why I listen to some of the other ones, like just the girlies who are friends who have a format just like us of like chit chatting.
Yeah.
But I feel like they kind of teach me stuff as I'm going, just about whatever the fuck they're talking about, because someone else's perspective.
Exactly.
But mostly, actually, I was going to say one of the biggest reasons when we started a podcast, and the reason we still do it or wanted to do it, and what keeps us going, is like making people laugh. And I will say that my deepest depressions, actually, the original Call Her Daddy was like there for me, because I would be so depressed and I wouldn't know what to do. And my biggest, not trick for depression, but just kind of like tool, is going on a walk. My whole life. Change your environment, movement. So just go for a walk. And if you can put something on that is going to make you laugh, it's worth it. So it's like, okay, I'm out of the house. I walked even around the block, and like these girls made me laugh out loud, but I'm not going to like listen to like Joe Rogan like teach me about something when I'm depressed.
Yeah. About fat soluble vitamins or something. 100%. All right, guys, we just just refreshed our drinks, and Francesca, we made caramel apple Jello shots the other day. So we have a whole bunch of Smirnoff caramel flavored vodka. And what did you just make,
like the
Francesca?
only thing we had in our house. I put caramel vodka because like we need to use it up, or just not. But like, no, exactly.
We need to use it up.
No, it's just I didn't have anything else. We don't have a wine. We don't have like, I normally just drink straight Tito's soda.
Yeah.
But we don't even have club soda. I just made a caramel apple and vodka and cranberry. And it's giving like butterscotch.
It's like the sweetest drink I've ever tasted.
It's giving like the weird candies like you used to get at your grandmother's house. Like, it's like a mix between like a Werther's and like one of those strawberry candies that you can't buy at the store, but grandmas just have in their purses. I don't know where they get them. It's a grandma subscription.
They get it from like Nordstrom.
No, that's just where our grandma gets it. We have like a family love for Nordstrom.
Actually, so I had a whole bunch of people come to the house after a concert. And we had all this booze, but like for Jello shots and stuff. Francesca, you passed out immediately. So you invited everyone. We invited everyone home.
Here or mom and dad's house?
Here.
And this is the thing I do.
Yeah.
I rally everyone for the the after party, and I'm like, you got to come to our house. We're having afters at our house. We're having afters. The second we walk in our house, I offer everyone a drink. I make them a drink, and then I sneak to bed. And
then it's just me. I'm the host. It's me. But whatever. It's fine. I don't mind it because I am a late night guy.
I'm not.
I will stay up, and I don't do cocaine, everyone. But I will sit there.
You said that's so weird. No, but it is weird because you stay up a lot, and people would think that you do drugs.
I will stay up till 9 a.m. Completely. As long as I got some Busch Light, like I'm up. I don't need cocaine to do that. Anyway, so we had this caramel vodka.
Yeah.
And we had this Southern girl over, and she was just like, man, that. Sorry, that's fucking rude. But like, no, she just had a Southern accent, and she loved the caramel vodka and was just taking swigs of it.
The South like sweet things,
I know,
though.
and I was
people like
like
sweet tea. Like I don't put this much sugar in my body.
She was from South Alabama.
Yeah, I'm sure she loved it. I hate it, and I don't know how I'm doing this myself. No one judged me. Guys, we're getting into these stats. It's been a chaotic episode.
I know.
Hi, hey, hello. Would you like to learn something?
Let's start talking about dogs. I'm kidding. Let's go. Okay.
Okay, so this is what we learned. 90% of podcasts don't get past episode 3.
Repeat.
90% of podcasts don't make it past episode 3.
Yeah.
So every year there's 2 million podcasts. Like there's about 2 million podcasts happening right now. But 1.8 million of those they quit before they get to their 3rd episode. So like when people feel like there's like, oh, like, you know, you're a new podcast or there's so much saturation, you're not competing against 2 million podcasts. Like all you have to do is keep going. And then, so get this, of those 200,000 left a year, 90% of those quit after 20 or before 20 episodes.
Bitch, this is 44.
This is episode 44. So if you get if you go to 21 episodes, you are in the top 1% of podcasts ever published in the world. Mm-hmm. Which is like wild.
It's crazy to know. By the way, you heard it here first. Francesca and Nicodemus have one of the top podcasts in the world.
Top 1%.
Yeah.
We're in. Yeah.
Granted, I want to say it's not hard to do, but it kind of is because we've put a lot of work and effort into this.
So much.
I know. So, but like, you know, and I do really feel like I compare myself to the biggest podcasts in the world.
No, that's like, I would say like 50% of our conversations every single day are like, they're doing that. Why aren't we doing that? But biggest compliment. Someone knew of us at the podcast meetup and they go, you know what? Somebody sent me one of your videos the other day. And they're like, I don't really remember like exactly what it was, but it was like, damn, they're doing that. Why aren't we doing that yet? Yeah. And I was like, thank you.
So go on more with the stats.
That's pretty much it. That like your competition is not 2 million podcasts. It's the 20,000 podcasts who make it like past a couple years that you're competing with, which is a very small pool. Mm-hmm. And we also like, it's so funny, like the way that brands or some people like don't respect like influencers or content creators for their time.
Yeah.
Because it's like, this isn't like a small thing. Like yes, it is just like sitting down and having a fucking chat, but it's not. There's literally production. There's editing. We actually write the podcast.
I've had to like go on so many YouTube tutorials and figure out how to do this. I've had to buy equipment and like people have brought this podcast up to your employers before trying to get you in trouble with it. And like, it's, you know.
Like tell me I'm influential without telling me I'm influential.
Yeah, exactly. No,
you know, it's just like you know that quote though, that like, nobody watches you harder than someone who hates you. So like give them a fucking show.
Yeah.
And that is like the definition like of this podcast. I think like our most hardcore listeners despise us.
Yes, but I'd say
like, wait.
I would say
no,
some of our most hardest listeners.
I'm just saying like
us. But it's funny because like it's weird. You know, I had a drama teacher that said it takes just as much energy to love someone as it does to hate someone. And it's like, you know what I mean? Like, I think some people I can name like hate watch us. And like, I think that's hilarious, you know? And this one's to you. Cheers.
Cheers.
And then another stat I heard was most podcasts quit within 12 months. And it's been about 13. So we are breaking the rule. Wait, we are just breaking the
mold.
The mold. Like we aren't some little tiny podcast that happened right now.
So we recently had a company that they reached out to us. They wanted to work with us. We've literally gone back and forth for 3 months. Thought this was going to be a huge like sponsorship.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, well, we're just like willing to offer you like a commission code.
A commission code.
For like 20% of like what we sell of theirs. And it's like, first of all, what's the difference between that and putting it in my Amazon storefront?
True.
You get 10% of everything that someone clicks through your Amazon storefront. And it's like, they were like, well, just because you're like a new podcast. And I'm like, bitch, I almost hit them with the stats.
Technically.
No, it's the highest form of marketing is when a friend tells you about a product. In podcasting, when people are listening, they get to know us. It's us as a friend telling them about it.
Yeah.
And for them to just offer commission, it's like you're getting access to our network and our audience. And they will literally recognize you and listen to you, not like a commercial on the television they might like speed through. And it's like, how do you not think that that's worth money?
Exactly. And like the way that they just think that they just, we said no because it was fucking annoying. But like, I mean, we have a lot of dedicated listeners. And if we talked about it and they saw our product in the store or wherever, they would be like, oh, wow, they almost feel like they have a connection to that product because it isn't like they just saw some random like TV ad or some random magazine ad about it. It was that like, someone that they listened to told them about it. And I was like, and I thought it was funny because you kind of like went like, your background's in marketing and you kind of went like full marketing shtick on me, like to kind of explain like how marketing is and what is influencer marketing.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting because it was like, it almost sounds like that company, whether like didn't really know as much about.
Yeah, which is fine. I just don't think, a lot of people don't know that like influencer marketing it's so much bang for your buck. And I think influencers are, because I've been flown out to Vegas to speak at conferences on influencer marketing. And it's like, we're not even at the tip of the iceberg. Like you think it's saturated and it's booming. It's growing billions of dollars a year. And it's just so much better because there's different forms. Like we could let someone put a commercial just over our podcast, which we have through our host. You can do a host read where we just talk about it, but we're not like that connected, or you integrate it into the topic or the content.
Yeah.
And what that is worth.
Yeah.
Like if we're like, hey guys, like like Toast, which we had last time, whom we love supported Toast, the podcast. And because we really did love it.
Yeah.
And we want people to know about them. And they're supporting like artists and people just creating content. So like how we worked Toast into our content because it was like, oh, like I'm not drinking. I'm trying to get in shape for my birthday. LOL. What? Gonna take it to like a baby shower. Like we really talked about it and like brought it in. No one's skipping over that.
Yeah.
So how much that is worth?
100%.
And they don't have any production costs when you hire an influencer. You don't have a photographer. It's not in a magazine. You literally... You also have to think you're hiring a photographer, a videographer, and you get their audience
and audio engineer.
I mean, truly, there's just different things. Like we climbed up to the top of the mountain with Toast and took a photo. They just like reposted. So you're paying to also have kind of user generated content on your own page that you didn't have to pay your social media person to do.
Yeah.
Like influencers are so underpaid.
I agree. And a lot of influencers, yeah, sure. The biggest ones have, they know what they're doing and they have, like managers and agents that like can really get that bag. But like, for the most part, like there is so many people that are massive content creators that are not actually capitalizing on the amount of money that they, that they should be given. And like, we know a few. And it's really interesting to like see that. But then it's on the flip side, all these huge influencers with like 2 million followers will talk about how like, hey, like this company reached out to me and they want to give me like some free product to make like 5 TikToks for them. And it's like, bro, are you fucking kidding me?
No, it's crazy.
It's literally...
there's actually a big scandal going around TikTok. Someone leaked. Revolves influencer like pay scales. And if you don't know, Revolve is like a clothing store online. It's like an online boutique. But the interesting thing is they're able to not pay their influencers, Nick, because being associated with Revolve as an influencer,
money in its own right.
It makes you look cooler. Like you have to be someone to be chosen by Revolve. So they have this weird, like structure to them, or they've kind of changed the game that people would almost pay them to be able to say like Revolve partner.
God, it's so weird because like I don't disagree with them because I see what they're saying, but at the same time I do find it a little criminal.
No, I think it's fucked up to not pay people for their time. And like, I think it's cool for them that they can, you know, if I was that clothing brand owner, that like I could not have to pay people as much because I've been on the other side. So for my agency, like I would have a client that would have a budget of like $100,000 now. And I would have to come up with a campaign for the next 6 months and pick influencers and negotiate contracts and pay them. So for me, the more I could negotiate down and pay each influencer less, I could get more influencers and my bosses would be more impressed. Our clients would be impressed. My job was to try and fuck over influencers.
Don't you?
Which is weird because like as one, it's just like a very weird thing. I always wanted to pay people for their time, but dude, if some girl would let me just send her the product and she would post it because she didn't know what she was worth, she didn't know what her audience was worth, she didn't know what a media kit was, I'm not going to tell her I should pay her. Exactly. I'm saying, oh, I'll just send you the product. Thanks so much for posting.
And to me, when I hear it, it comes off predatory.
Yeah. 100%. I was exploiting these girls, but like, it's also like they could choose to pay or to charge whatever they want to charge. You also can't like price yourself. But at least in 2000, when did I leave New York? Like 2019, the going rate was $100 per 10,000 followers. So if you had 30,000 followers, then you could get $30 for a picture. Or wait, $300. Sorry,
$300. I was like, wait.
But I think that's cheap.
I think it's too cheap. Yeah,
because micro influencers are worth more right now. Once these influencers get so big, like Kim Kardashian, and she just like, if you guys are watching me, just like holds a product next to her face and like smiles and takes a photo. Sure, that's like $2 million, but that's not like a friend telling them. As like, you know, us, we would be considered micro influencers because we have less than 50,000 followers.
Yeah.
But like our followers know us. Yeah. And know that if we're talking about something we care. We know Kim Kardashian doesn't give a shit about that. Yeah. And she's just being paid $2 million. You guys, you know how much I could talk about influencer.
I know. You just want like full like keynote presentation, which I love. But yeah, I feel like with Kim Kardashian, it's weird because someone could see that product placement and because they're such diehard Kim Kardashian fans, like immediately buy. But some people like you who definitely are influenced by Kim Kardashian, but you're not going to sit there and it's not your friend telling you, like you said, you know? No. And you kind of see through this like product placement.
But that's more just exposure. That's eyeballs. Yeah. She posts something. The reason it's worth that much is because that many eyeballs are on it. So it's worth it. Yeah. Like, you know that. Yeah. Everybody's seen it.
What's crazy is like, so guys, I wrote a book back in the day, but the book has not been released. Only about like 15 people have read it. It will be released sometime.
Once the podcast is famous and we have a platform, then we're self-publishing Nick's book.
But it was just thinking, I was thinking about like, if I could just get like Lady Gaga to be like, because it's a queer book, and if Gaga, a queer icon, be like, oh my God, this is my new favorite book. If I could like pay her to just do a photo, whether or not the book was good or if it was bad, like what that would do to my career. Would it make it immediately overnight over one Instagram post? You know? I wonder about these things.
That happens. We met someone at the bar and nightclub show because it was also the World Tea Convention. She was featured on Oprah's Favorite Things. Yes. And she was like a chai company. I think it's called the Chai Box.
The Chai Box, yeah.
And
she was awesome.
She was lovely. I like shout out. She's like this amazing Indian woman, and like it's a family business.
She was a fucking mom.
Yeah, her son was there helping out in the. But she's still hustling and doing trade shows. But she said she got chosen as one of Oprah's favorite things, and her company overnight completely changed.
Yeah, and And it was good chai.
No, it was amazing.
It was amazing.
I was like,
and she was cute too. She was fucking, yeah. I liked her. Okay, so
you guys, we just did a powwow of like, okay, like what's on this podcast? What have we been talking about?
I honestly don't even know. And
I feel like
only my second drink, guys. It's not like we're hammered. I just like it. Literally is so funny that I feel like the more comfortable we get with podcasting, the more we want to talk and talk and talk and talk. Which,
thank goodness for editing, you guys.
honestly, our first podcast was 15 minutes long, and we felt like that was a good place to end it.
Nick, I had 3 meltdowns during our first podcast.
Yeah, no, I know.
It was like hard to like get into it, and I was
weird.
like, is it? It's something to get used to. But as you guys, like, I'm sorry that you guys just got all that information of influencer marketing, but I still do that, and I'm still super passionate about it. But so one thing we've been talking about, because we also watch other influencers that talk about trends and influencer marketing, is about our like structure to the podcast. What's the word I'm looking for?
Format.
Yes, or format. That's the word.
Yeah.
My mom always asks, she's like, where do you tell the people to tell you, like when you ask them questions directly, she's like, I can't DM you on your podcast. Tell us on TikTok or Instagram. Do you want more like current events? Do you want us to like get in the conversation? Do you want to hear about like what's going on, like TikTok trends? I will tell you.
Do you want to hear more about what's been going on in our lives, about our love lives? Do you want to hear about the straight man I'm dating? Like, I just like...
I mean, do you want me to get into the nitty gritty of the drama of the fucking bitches in my life? Because
the ketchup crew.
The ketchup crew. You haven't even told them what that means. I know. Will you tell them real quick?
The ketchup crew are... You are part of the ketchup crew when you belong to the crew of girls that for some reason want to end Francesca's life. Okay? You are part of the ketchup crew. If you are a ketchup girl, you know who you are.
Oh, and, they know. They're listening.
Yeah,
They're our biggest fans.
So I'm just saying, the ketchup crew, yeah.
How this came about is Nick had a vat of like ketchup explode on him. And you know, when you take like he said, he goes, he had paper towels like cleaning up this pile of ketchup. And he goes,
it's very hard to clean up ketchup.
He was like, I care less about these people than I do like about this ketchup. Like your vibe with like the wet, soppy paper towels, it was the vibe that you have towards these people. You guys. But we're not even kidding. Like we might just start putting out the drama like on our Patreon.
Yeah. Which doesn't exist yet. Don't.
If you want like the nitty gritty reality show,
Ketchup Corner with Francesca,
I'll fucking tell you what's up. So if you guys want us to talk about, you know, pop culture and we've been watching some of these influencers to talk about influencers saying that the biggest thing that people do is like thinking people care before they actually know who you are and know your reality show. So a lot of podcasts, it's like they do current events or they do a segment where it's like, listen, like Pete Davidson just went out with Emily Ratajkowski. Here's my hot take on it, because you're talking about something they already care about.
Yeah.
So we don't get these stats. We don't know. Like we need more feedback.
I think that's what it is. We need more feedback. So if you guys like something or dislike something, feel free to message us online.
Like DM, rip me apart. Even if it's something you hate, if you're like, listen, too much of your own lives. Or if you're like, no, like you're not telling us enough.
Yeah.
That's actually been like more of my feedback from people I know. Yeah. Because like, Francesca, what happened to Denver Man? What happened to Aspen Man? Like you aren't telling us.
Yeah.
And like, I honestly have no like we all know, like I'll tell all of my embarrassing moments. It's just sometimes like my mother might not like it. Mm-hmm. But like,
that's why I feel like we truly need a Patreon.
Yeah, and she can't have access.
And I'm only going to tell you like the worst of the worst, the best of the best for like.
If you guys would want to pay for the nitty gritty, like I will do a full on reality show of every like crazy thing going on in our lives because we haven't been able to talk about it.
I don't think I just feel like there are some things that like Francesca and I don't really know like what exactly to go more in on and less in on. You know?
But I'll also give you my hot take on like.
Tell me. Even if I've never met you, I don't care. Please, like, I would love to especially if I've never met you. Actually.
How you found us and why you listen, because I want to get better and do more. And it's super interesting. Like, also working in social media, I have so much like with corporate social media, I can see all those stats. okay, they like when we do this, they don't like when we do this. So when I have clients, I do like a whole breakdown of what's working and what's not. And like my last client, I found out it was like they like to see our people and what this is, or they like to see the, you know, whatever. And with this, we don't have like, yeah, we have like social media and what clips do well, but
I can't really not the same. Know exactly what you guys love and what you guys dislike.
I need to know. When I did like an Instagram poll, like everybody voted the drama, and I'm like, you guys. But like, I'll do it for the people. Yeah, I agree. I'm already living it. Might as well talk about it.
That's kind of how I feel a lot of the time.
It's already happening. I should capitalize on it.
Like, if I'm experiencing it, let me at least talk about it.
Yeah. Like
if you wrote it down in a journal, would it be better? No. Would it be like, no, what I'm saying, like,
yeah, no.
Would it be like more couth to talk about it because you wrote it down versus talk about it on a podcast?
You guys, my favorite quote, the more truths you tell, the more books you sell. Yeah. And I think that could be what we're missing. We're being a little too PG. But I had a thought the other day, Nick, that you and I should get like our childhood journals and like read excerpts from it.
I don't have any childhood journals.
See, I journaled my whole childhood.
Nope.
I feel like there's people who do, and the girls that get it. The girls who don't.
I didn't really journal too much as a kid.
That's weird because you're a writer.
Well, I wrote, but it was more
the creative
poetic.
Writing. Okay.
It was more. I would write about a bird a lot, and I was the bird.
Oh, I dabble in poetry when I'm having like a psychotic break.
Yeah. It's very good for like coming back.
Yeah, that's
to
the only time that I've done, or when I've been like so in love that I don't know how to express it.
Or so sad.
Yeah, so like truly like in deep pain or in deep happiness to where I'm like, yeah. But like sometimes I go back and read them, like French man, like the poetry that I wrote from when we fell in love in France. It's like,
but it's good because you get to revisit where you once were and your feelings were valid.
Yeah.
Are valid. So
once again, we did not talk about anything we wrote about.
But we are going to talk about one. Like we need a fucking referee on the sideline.
No, like, I need a producer. Tell me, literally.
Stop. Talk too long.
What if they like shock me? Like
Francesca, stop talking about.
No, truly.
No,
but
we're going to end on a story that is fucking hilarious.
Actually, our best friend who we were out with that night told us, shout out Alicia. She was like, this is why you have a podcast. She was like telling her friends that never met us because we had this whole debacle to get into this bar. And she was like, and this is why they're the Saucy Sibz, because what the fuck? Like why did this happen? Why did this happen to you tonight?
Exactly.
So we went to Denver.
So for the podcast meeting, which was awesome. We already told you about it. And then our plan was to just like drive back to the mountains and like go home. But we said, no. Francesca texted one of our good friends, Alicia, and she was like, oh, I'm going out tonight. Meet us at this bar. Mm-hmm. And so we went and we parked our car like in a sketchy alley. And then the door guy was there being sketchy because all door guys are
literally
sketchy.
It's an alley. It's a dirty trash alley.
Literally.
And he asked for my ID and I'm like, oh. So I have two jackets. I have a leather jacket and a fucking puffer jacket. They're both black. They look the same. They have the same pockets. Put my little Louis in the wrong jacket. So I'm like, I don't have my ID. I go, but this is my little brother. I am 6 years older than him. But no, I was like, honestly, like, here's a picture of my passport. Here's a picture of my ID.
Mm-hmm. And he said, fuck no.
He said, absolutely not.
Go
like, get
yourself.
the fuck out of my face.
Yeah.
And I was like, this wasn't some hot ass club in New York City. It wasn't busy. The club, it was fucking empty.
The club was fucking empty. And he just said no. And then, Francesca, you offered him $50.
I said, Nick, give me a $50 bill.
I had a $50 bill.
And so I go, hey, honestly, like, here's the picture of my passport. I am very clearly over 21. And he knows, and I understand he's just trying to do his job, but I'm like, here's $50. I'm sorry, sir. He's like, I could lose my job. Give me a fucking break. Grow up.
Okay. Also,
take the $50.
Was there video cameras?
No. Well, here's the thing.
Do you think this was a sting operation?
No, exactly. Like, I understand there are sting people. They do that in Colorado. Like
I've
the
heard.
Stings. I've heard the lore, the folk tales,
the mythology.
I know. Yeah. Like, has anybody ever gotten stung? But I'm like, bro, this is not, it's like if a server were to get mad that a parent let their kid drink a sip of alcohol.
Yeah.
Something like that. It's like, no cops care.
No one cares.
No one's getting their 12-year-old drunk. Yes, if their 14-year-old, 15-year-old daughter wants to try her mom's wine. But I remember growing up, like we would, because we've drank wine since we were 10 with our family. It's just very normal. I remember certain times like we would get in trouble.
I got in trouble in Hawaii because I tasted my dad's drink. And a man in a like loincloth in a spear came over to me and was like, whoa, no. Because I was 12, but like, I mean, at the same time, if I'm 12 with my father and my father wants to give me whatever, I don't write the law. But at the end of the day, Francesca was not being let into the club.
And I wasn't like thinking I was like too cool. I was just kind of like, I was like, kind of like, bro, I literally was like, here, let me show you this card.
You were super
I grabbed like a
respectful.
credit card. I go, if you have cameras, look at it. I go, here's a $50 bill. Because it's just like, please.
I get it, but like, can we not? And he was just like, absolutely not. And so
I had like a mini meltdown because I feel like I ruined our night. I'm like, man, we went to this meetup. We were super excited to meet up with her friend. I was like, I guess let's just drive back to the mountains because I'm a fucking idiot.
But then I was sitting there, Francesca.
Yeah, talking me off a ledge. What else is new?
But like, I've always, as a young kid, I always hung out with older people. I always got in. I don't care if I was 12. I would get in. Okay. And wasn't there a story when you visited me at college? Yeah.
And dad was like,
okay, so what it was is my parents
tell the story.
My parents know that I get in. Okay. And I was about 15 at your college graduation in a college town, which is very hard to get into bars unless you have fake ID. I didn't have a fake ID. And my mom, for some reason, got like weirdly like attitude-licious with me. And she was like, well, we're going to the bars after, so you can't come. So, and it was weird. I kind of felt like, she
didn't want to deal.
She didn't want to deal, but she was also kind of taunting me. And, I was just like, okay, well, I'll get in. So I got in. I got into one of the biggest bars in your college town. It was very easy. And I just used one of your friend's fake IDs. He was 24.
We passed it down on the balcony. You know, a pass back. The classic move.
I know. No, he went up to the top of the balcony. He passed it down. And I like caught it in my hand, you know, and I walked straight in. He was 24. I was 15. And so I go into the bar. I order a vodka soda. And I sat down. And mom and dad walk up. And they see me sitting there with a drink, and my dad just goes, "Good work." You know?
Yeah, because also family motto is Piazzas don't wait in line, and
I'm gonna get in the fucking club.
We call it pulling a piazza. You're just not gonna. And so Nick looked at me. I was like having a meltdown. I was like, "Fuck it. I don't feel like dealing with this dude. I'm not gonna like be like a little street rat trying to get into a shitty bar." And Nick was like, Francesca, like, do we take no for an answer?
Well, not even.
He's like, were we raised this way?
I was just saying here, like, Francesca, like, it's some random ass wook in an alleyway saying that you can't get in.
You're like, is that ever stopped? We've done way crazy.
I'm just saying, like, we can get in very easy. So we go back to the car, and I had like a pelt.
Like, you know how I have a lot of animal pelts like around me?
Yeah.
A lot. I don't know. It's like part of our aesthetic. Gay Lewis and Clark.
We
traveled with pelts.
Like a baby cow pelt or skin. And I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do, Francesca. I'm going to cut a hole in the fucking cow skin. Okay. I'm going to do an X. You're going to put it around your neck.
This was Nick's like grand idea. He was like, listen, you're going to wear the Sherpa. You're going to cut a hole. And I was like, in my pelt? I was like, absolutely not. He goes, oh, your $20 furs from Target? And I was like, they are from Brazil.
No, they were from an antique store.
They are.
I was just saying, if you cut a hole into the pelt and you put your head through and you wear it across.
No, and he goes, space buns.
If you put your hair in space buns, you will get in immediately.
He was like, he had this whole plan. But craziest thing. So I randomly text my friend. I go, listen, I can't get in. I need an ID. She goes, okay, let me ask. She was at like a pregame party. One of the girls at the pregame was from New Jersey, but just got her Colorado ID. So she still had her New Jersey ID.
That wasn't expired or anything. Or like, you know.
And she looked exactly like me. Like dark hair, curtain bangs.
And you were afraid that he was going to recognize you. And I was like, no.
You were like Space Buns. And I was like, I'm not cutting the pelt. So Nick and I like just...
I feel like...
Imagine us like fighting in the front seat is if I'm going to dress like a Peruvian Sherpa climbing Machu Picchu to get into this bar. And I was like yelling at him that...
I was like, do you want to get in or do you not want to get in? Because you got to let me know
You
now.
were taunting me. You were like, all right, like, are you a little bitch or are you not?
I guess you can wait in the car while we go have fun. I was seriously like... Are we really going to let some man in an alleyway tell you no?
Yeah, you were like...
In Denver.
You were like, Francesca, like, I don't know, like, if you need to, like, put your... Like, I don't know who, like, if you've lost yourself, but if my older sister, Francesca Piazza, is going to let the alleyway man tell her she can't get into a bar, he was like, are you okay?
And you know... that one of our friends that we met up that we had just met that night, I told him about the pelt, and he was like, because you went in before us. Once you got the ID,
I was like,
we're
going to split up.
So he stayed in the car with us, and he just looked at me and he was like, honestly, the pelt idea, no one would have seen it coming. No. He goes, it's so random, it's so in depth. He's like, you would have gotten in immediately. I'm like, thank you. He was like, I saw what you were doing. I was like, I know. He was like, Francesca just didn't want to see it. I was like, no, I know. But anyway, we didn't have to fuck up the pelts.
No, but I almost was like, Nick, for this story, like, should we wear the pelts as ponchos on the podcast?
That's just our uniform.
I was like, I'm going to get a staff. I was like, I want like a hat. Mm-hmm. I almost like, I don't know why, like for some reason, like, cause I feel like, you know, theme parties or like costumes, everybody has more fun. Like we've gotten a lot of comments on like the costumes for the Halloween episode.
Yeah. People loved, but I just felt like I knew I know how to get into disguise.
Apparently, I thought you were about to draw a mustache on me, Nick.
I probably would.
Tell me to speak.
It would have been
like Emperor's New Groove. Like,
honestly, I didn't even think about an accent, but it would have fucking worked. You know, just anything to deflect them. You know,
yeah, just always keep them guessing. Yeah, never let them know your next move.
Dribbling a basketball while you give them their idea, staring at them in the eyes. You know what I mean? Like it would have worked. But
wait,
anyway,
okay. Last thing.
That's a type of genius that most don't have.
One time, I'm just going to tell this quick story. Nick and I were going to a sold out show.
Are you talking about Old Rock House in St. Louis? Okay.
Okay. So
this is bad.
But here's the thing. Like, our dad has instilled something in us that we like, okay, I don't care if it's VIP at fucking Coachella. If I looked at my dad and said like, oh, I don't know how to get in or I can't get in, my dad would be like, fucking loser. Like, he would just be like, we don't
fucking find a way. Yeah.
He's like, act like you belong and you will. That's the biggest thing that our dad taught us is the way you carry yourself. I know it's in every movie you've ever seen, but you guys, it works every single time. Actually, I'm just jumping all over the place. Wait, did you hear about the... Hold on, I will. But did you hear about those kids who snuck into a sold-out Red Rock show because they were wearing vests and carried a ladder?
No, but it makes sense.
They were wearing construction vests and carried a ladder.
Well, that's actually one of the biggest secrets is the
maintenance vests. No one questions anything. Nick, they literally said this is sold out. They got a fucking extension ladder and they held it and they carried it in. And I don't know if it was like a news article, but I was like,
would you ever be like, no, let me see your ID?
No, they wouldn't. It would be like, oh, they're like, oh, we're part of the sound crew. Okay.
Yeah. We're here for the water main.
But see, we've never had to get that in depth because like if you just like
believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you just believe. Or if you have like enough if you have enough delusion, which we just operate in delusion now.
I'm a delusional human being.
That's all I'm saying. That's the key to life. Be delusional.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got to the show. They're like, absolutely, it's sold out. Whatever.
Space Jesus show.
No, it was Liquid Stranger.
Was it?
Yeah, at the Old Rock House. And people are like, what the fuck? Don't worry about it. Some wook shit. And so we're in the parking lot. We're walking up, and there's a group of people that said, hey, it's sold out. We tried to sneak in with our fake wristbands. It's absolutely not happening. Don't do it. We were like, can we see your fake wristbands? Because we're going to try.
Yeah.
So we try to get in and we get denied. They're like, get the fuck out of here with your fake wristbands.
I know. It was such a fake. I think they colored a blue Sharpie
on like a green wristband because it was blue wristbands that night. It was so bad.
Oh my God.
Okay. So then Nick and I are like, okay, now we're actually going to try on our own. So we sneak to the back of the building.
No. I actually remember how this happened.
Yeah.
We decided not to. And we were like, fuck. So we were going back to the car and we were
Okay.
going to decide about like, how are we going to do this? How are we going to get in? Mm-hmm. And you go, okay. And so we're walking around the building because there's like parking lots like 360 degrees around this building. Mm-hmm. We're walking back. So we're walking like pretty much behind the building. And there's a door on the back bottom like basement of the building. And you just kind of walk up to the door and open it. And it just opens up. And I just go, oh my God, you're a fucking genius. The back door.
The back door.
The back door.
The back door happened to be the green room.
So we literally walk in, and I was like, this is insane, but it's hilarious. So you just open up.
There's like a mini fridge. We sat down.
We sat down. We walk in. We sit down, and it's like the fucking crew back there. Like the managers of like, and we sit down, and he goes, bro, what? And you go, what? They didn't let us in the front door because you were sold out, so we just came through the back. And they go, really? And
I go, we really wanted to see you guys. Like, we've been really wanting to. And so, like...
and he just goes, damn, cool. He was just like, okay. Like,
he was impressed. He was like, the audacity.
He was like, no, it makes sense. Like, the back door. Like, you...
I don't know. I know what else. So, we sit... He offers us a drink. Do we smoke a cigarette in the green room? Like, I forget. But we become homies. We're, like, hanging out. And he's like, you guys are fucking cool. He goes, I'm the manager for the band. And we're like, oh, awesome. And he goes,
done.
I'll just walk you in the front door and tell them you're with me. He goes, fuck it. You don't need tickets. You're with us. And I was like, amazing. So the manager walks us up to the front door and they go, oh, where's the tickets? He goes, no, man. They're with me. And he's like, oh, okay, lets us go. And we're like, oh, fuck, look at us. We're in. The manager.
In. Like they said, I said, fuck a ticket.
The man who caught us with the fake wristbands
It was
earlier.
the owner of the venue.
Oh, fuck. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was the owner of the venue.
He goes, those two tried to get in with fake wristbands. They're banned for life. Absolutely not. And the manager goes, you guys already tried to fucking sneak in with fake wristbands? And I was like...
We told him that we already tried to get in. Well, I think we told him that it was sold out and they wouldn't let us in.
Yeah.
We didn't tell him that we used fake wristbands that we got off someone in the parking lot to try to get in.
Yeah.
And I think that was the caveat that like... And he goes, you guys just didn't tell me that. And I was like... I mean, we literally snuck in through the back and walked into the green room like fucking psychopaths. You think we're gonna like... I just felt like...
Anyway, we got escorted out and we didn't get to see the show. We were that close.
Very close.
Very close.
Honestly, I'd say an H for effort, you know?
Remember the time you hoisted me over a metal fence for the World Series?
Oh,
Nick,
no.
we
It was the Stanley Cup.
Oh.
It was the Stanley Cup
Whatever.
in St. Louis.
It's the same thing.
Men chasing the ball.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Catching it, hitting it. I don't
Goal.
know. Ooh.
Budweiser. Anyway, but no. We were at like game 6.
No, we started like a rush on. There was like a metal fence.
We did
spikes,
with barbed wire, and like
not barbed wire,
but like
it was
spikes.
It was spikes. But
And
it was
you
like
and
a
I decided to be delusional
tall,
and just like I hoisted.
I
you
go,
over
Nick,
it.
why don't you hoist me up? And then
we got in, you got in, and then all of a sudden
people started following.
We started this like 30-person like riot over like rush.
We got in though. We were fine. We fucking ran. We bolted.
And then we ran into our dentist.
Yeah. Our dentist who got us our place in Denver.
Because we're moving to Denver. All
right, we gotta go. I have to go.
I feel like, that was our good.
Do you want some pizza?
That was our ketchup.
I'm just kidding.
What?
I'm on a diet. I just like pizza sounds good. We talked about pizza earlier. I was trying to circle back, Nick.
Where are you getting
it's a
pizza?
bit in comedy.
Oh,
like you kind of bring it back to the beginning joke.
Well, we already did that with the moving to Denver.
I was really rounding it out.
All right. Well,
listen, like I can't like carry the comedy on this podcast. Just kidding.
You know, guys, thank you for listeing to this very chaotic, unhinged, no format, pure comedy.
You guys know the notes I have written down? Like, this whole podcast was going to be about how we live in a simulation.
But we didn't get to there, so here.
So I guess we'll save it, but we'll never get there
for next episode.
Should we tell them?
What?
No, we're getting off.
What? No. We're done. This, we're already like an hour and a half in. Yeah. But guys, thank you so much. We love. We'll see you soon, okay?
No,
Jesus Christ. I don't even know.
I don't know how to hang up. It's like getting off the phone. It's like, no, you hang up. No, you hang up.
You hang up. Okay.
I like to tell men that sometimes via text.
But
like in a cute way.
And they don't get it?
No, I'm like, no, you hang up. And they're like, I'm texting you. I'm like, stop ruining my bits.
I know. God, people just aren't used to like being in contact with like some of the biggest comedians in Colorado.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm a comedian now, and like no one is like playing along.
Should I just get on stage with the fedora and be like, Nicodemus is a comedian now? Okay, bye. Fuck off.
My dog is. All right, I love you guys. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, and don't forget. I'm bringing it back. Will you tell us what you like, what you don't like?
Yeah, please.
More
please,
drama,
please.
more current events.
Whatever you want. More nudes.
Cheers, guys. Love you. Chef's kiss.
Bye.
Mwah.